We are back with our Serpo Loco series, Riyadh Will and Saman.
And we are here at one of our favorite and newest coffee spots that we've been trying out, Burritos Coffee and Things in downtown Whitby. If you've never tried it, please come out and give it a try.
And we're also here to interview a local business owner, a leader in our community, Jothi of Jothi Creative Wellness. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you go on your Instagram, which is Jothi Creative Wellness.
Yep.
On Instagram, and it outlines a plethora. Plethora?
Plethora.
Thank you.
He's trying to use big
Trying to
words.
use big words here. All right, 2024. I just turned 46. Get out of here. Everyone.
Okay.
And it lists a whole variety. It's a better word for me. I can spell that. Variety of things that you do for your business. Can you sort of sum up what your business is for everyone?
Yes. So it's a one-stop shop for wellness. I do corporate wellness. I work with a lot of different groups throughout the community, through the workplace. I also work in schools with classrooms and educators, and I work one-on-one with clients as a coach. So it's all over the board. I do run a women's wellness space once a month called Her Space out of a local Whitby business called Women's Health and Physio. And, it's just about keeping things within the community, really supporting community members. I do work all over the GTA, but Her Space is local.
Right.
And I really wanted to create a diverse space for women to come to and see each other and really take the time to do some self-care, meditate, do some sound therapy, move our bodies, and just really reconnect to ourselves.
Now how do you get into this? Like this was not your career,
No.
You didn't go to school for this.
No, I didn't.
So how did you get here?
I had a child 17 years ago, and that felt like it was not only a birth of a baby, but it was a birth into my own life's journey. And it opened up a lot of things in terms of my own healing. I thought that I had already healed from. Mm-hmm. But now I felt a deep responsibility because I was a parent to do some self-work, to do some inner work. So I went on a journey. And through that journey, I learned a lot about myself. I opened myself up. There was a lot of armor that I had on, a lot of walls I had up, a lot of meeting other people's expectations, especially in the South Asian community. Our culture really puts a lot of pressure to sort of be a certain way. Like I was a scientist before that. So it was like, that really wasn't what I wanted to do, So I uncovered this creative being inside, and I thought, okay, so between healing and creativity, because I'm a visual artist as well, I brought the two together, and I really just started simple. I started doing an arts club at my kids' school, just for the wellness break for kids, and it ended up there were wait lists. I had to get a parent committee together for it because people are hungry for these kind of spaces to just stop and just be for a moment. And I realized it started to just grow very organically. Teachers needed some space. So I'm like, okay, parents. And so from there, I just opened up, and it just snowballed. And so through my training and certifications, I really became much more knowledgeable around the alternative modalities for wellness. So like meditation and mindfulness. I do a lot of somatic work. I work with the body. A lot of folks are disengaged or disconnected from our bodies. We're connected to the outer world. Somatic work, this reconnection to the body, the internal system of the mind-body connection, and what it means, how it guides us, the wisdom it carries. I mean, they've talked about epigenetics, where we carry a lot of...
Sorry, what?
It's called epigenetics.
Epigenetics.
We carry the DNA within our cells, within our blood, carries memory from generations before us. So it carries trauma memory, but it also carries wisdom.
Right.
So it's about tapping into the wisdom of our body to help us to heal from the inside out, so we can be the best selves that we want to be. So a lot of folks are walking around with that armor that I used to have on, with those walls. And it's not to say my armor doesn't still go up. Mm-hmm. It does. I get triggers, there's situations, but I've learned a lot how to move through it, how to courageously face the things that I'm scared about and that bother me and that hurt me, and keep it moving, keep it growing, keep it evolving, right? And deepen that sense of self.
Wow.
That's it in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
long answer.
Yes, it was.
How do people at what point do people need your service? Like how if someone
Yeah.
watching, is going through some things that, what is at what point does someone say to themselves, maybe I need help, maybe I need to, seek some advice from someone?
Yeah, I think on an individual, more personal basis, someone who's kind of tried a lot of different things and they're ready to try something different and they're willing to explore and be curious about
Right.
why things are coming up for them. On a more corporate level, when organizations are ready to invest in their employees' wellness, again, through exploration of different kinds of pathways, right? It's not always just about therapy, talk
Yes.
therapy.
Yes.
Right.
There's a lot more out there that we can start to dive
So
into.
is it on a personal side, would you say that if people are dealing with, memories that come back and haunt them, they
Yes.
think that they've dealt with something, but it's coming back again, those are the
Yeah,
type of people that you would be helping with?
totally. If you're noticing patterns, right? Patterns within your relationships, patterns within your parenting, patterns at work or friendships, it's time. It's time to start to like slow down. Let's look at these patterns. What's coming up? What is it connected to in terms of our past? And how can we move through that and form different synapses? I just learned a really cool, I'm a science nerd, so I learned a really cool thing
Which is
about.
surprising to me. I just
Yeah,
wanna
I
say-
know, right? Where did that come from?
But there is a connection between what you do and science.
Of
Everything sort of
course,
connected
it's
to science.
all
yeah.
connected. So
It's important.
so through science, I just learned that, it's 400 repetitions to form a new brain synapsis, right? To form a new neural pathway. 10 to 20 when done in play. So I incorporate the creative process, hence the reason the name of the organization. I integrate the creative process and play into a lot of what I do, because through play, 10 to 20 repetitions creates a new brain synapsis.
Wow.
If you're learning and healing through a playful process, you know what I mean? So
Yes.
it's really interesting.
So for yourself, was there a
Yeah.
trigger point that made you do this?
Yeah, it's the birth of my kids. It
That
really was. It was I had trauma at birth of my own birth, and that came up to the surface when my daughter was born. I have 2 teenagers now. And it's like through parenting, through that birthing process, that's really brought me this awareness, like something's going on with me that I'm not feeling very comfortable with.
You were not aware of it really until that moment.
Well, I
You
was.
thought you dealt with it.
Yeah, through
Until-
therapy, I
right,
thought, okay, I'm
right.
good. I'm good. I'm going to become a mom now. I'm good. I'm ready. And then a lot of stuff came to the surface. And not only did it come to the surface, I had a responsibility. I realized that at this time, it's like, I don't want to repeat. I'm helping folks break cycles,
Yes.
generational cycles. We're talking, the first generation to start to heal from things that have like addiction and
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
all sorts of things. The list goes on. So it's really, we need support in that. And I really believe in collective care. I believe in the community. We don't do this alone. We shouldn't be healing alone. So I really want to build a community of care. And doing it out here is so important. This is where I live. This is where I'm raising my kids. This is where, schools really need the support. Organizations need the support. But we don't do it alone. That's a really important message for me. Yeah.
So speaking of community,
Yes.
what are some of your favorite local businesses?
Oh wow! Well, I do go to Osteogenie just down the way.
Who doesn't?
There, right? She takes really good care of me, and it's important that I balance work with getting out in the community and really
Yes.
meeting people. So Osteogenie, Women's Health and Physio, so they really care, for the body.
What about food?
Food. Well, let me think. Oh gosh, there's so many.
Part of wellness, right?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Portly Piper.
That's
I really
rational.
love
There
the
you
Portly
go.
Piper.
Portly Piper,
You
yeah.
know.
You want an Ajax, right?
Yeah, the one in
That's
Ajax.
Their wings.
They have the best wings.
They have great wings, but oh gosh, what is it called? Breaking Wings, best wings I've ever had. Breaking Wings.
Really?
So it's
I've seen
right
it
before
somewhere.
Church and Highway 2.
Sure.
So it's like
Oh, yes.
borderline Pickering Ajax.
Okay.
Breaking Wings, excellent wing spot. Coffee spot. I like Goldie's. That's
Oh,
my
yeah.
office away from home. I'm
That's where I
always
live.
there working. Yeah.
yeah.
What else?
That's
yeah.
a solid list.
Yeah.
Another question regarding, because on your socials,
Yes.
you do touch a lot about trauma. You mentioned your own
Yeah.
personal trauma.
Yeah.
How does someone know that they have trauma,
Yeah.
and how does someone go about addressing it?
Well, I think it's really paying attention and being self-aware around how you cope with stress, how you cope with triggers, right? When things are down, how are you responding? How are you responding? Are you shutting down? Are you distracting? Get the phone out, are you like pushing it somewhere? The way we learn to deal with stress is usually a trauma response. It's usually something we learned real young, in our first 10 years of life.
Right.
What did my parents do? What was
Right.
my environment like? So a lot of times a lot of folks are walking around in adult bodies, but their younger selves are running the show. So if you like lose it when you're like, are you fighting? Is there rage? Are you fleeing? Are you shutting down? There's a lot of trauma response going
Like, what
on.
if you're someone like me? Like, I think about my.
You do a little bit of everything?
No, I grew up.
His younger self still.
I grew up. I grew up. I had issues, but I grew up, and I feel like I address things pretty well. I'm direct.
Yeah.
Like I was.
To the point,
nothing
right?
drags out. Nothing
That's
is
good.
unsaid. You just
Excellent.
say it and get it out there.
Yeah.
Because I do believe. I'm no scientist.
Neither am I. It's not anymore.
But I do believe.
I'm trying to think where he's going with this. Yeah.
Things unsaid within a family does far more harm
Yeah.
than things being said to you.
Yes.
And so I grew up that way, and honestly, I mean, my siblings would disagree with me because they have their own issues.
Yeah.
But for me, I went to counseling.
Yeah.
My father died, and I was like, oh. And I realized I actually was dealing with things pretty well, which was odd, because I thought I was not addressing things properly. So
Right.
it's interesting.
I think, addressing things, being straightforward is really important,
Yeah.
but doing it from a place of empathy and compassion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
That's
That is
different.
stop.
that's, we can do it.
Yeah.
We can be in healthy relations. We
Yes.
can talk. We can speak and communicate in a way that's direct.
Yes.
Talks about exactly what we want and need, asks for what we want and need, and does it with gentle, loving care.
Right.
You don't have to be, eggshells, but you can do it with love.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I'll bring up is young children. They have kids. You have teenage daughters.
Yeah.
Cell phones.
Son and daughter.
Son and daughter.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the cell phone and how that's impacting.
Ooh. Well, cell phone has
Oh, I heard
become a drug, right? It's become an
It's a
addiction.
serious
So
drug.
instead of going for the drugs or the alcohol or whatever it is,
Yes.
that's become a vice. That's
Right.
become I'm just going to go on my cell phone and scroll for a few hours, right? It's okay. Anything's okay done in moderation, but I think that when it becomes this sort of like, I'm going to hide behind my phone,
Mhm.
I'm going to hide in my phone, I don't want to deal with what's going on in the real world, and it becomes an avoidance tactic, that's when it's trouble. So it's really important to be self-aware and really honest. Like, what do I do? I mean, I'm guilty. I'm walking the talk. Like I have to catch myself and check myself, So it's a lot of accountability and responsibility, but it's the willingness to say, okay, I have an issue. So I'm going to see if I can disrupt the pattern and do something different. Every time I go and check for my phone, or I'm going to put it somewhere so it's not so available and accessible to me. In our home, we do a certain time that there's no cell phones allowed because it's dinner time. There's no
Even
cell
the
phones.
teenagers.
Yeah, it's hard.
I was gonna
It's
say.
hard, but it's not allowed at the dinner table.
Good.
So if you're having breakfast,
There.
lunch, or dinner, anything at the dinner table, there's no cell phones.
Have you been to restaurants?
Oh, and they sit there and
I saw a
Yeah.
entire family
I'm
with their
just
cell phone the
like,
other day. I was
what?
like,
Yeah.
what in the
Yeah,
heck?
it's tough.
What a waste of
what's the
time.
point coming on?
Exactly.
What's the
Yeah.
point?
What
Just stay
exactly?
calm.
What a waste of time that is. And they ate in quiet.
And quiet. It's really sad.
It's
It's
like,
really
what's
sad.
going on here?
I saw I've seen babies at tables with iPads.
Yeah.
Bad.
And it's disengagement,
That's
right?
bad.
And there's that socialization. Like, how are they learning how to socialize,
How to
have
behave.
conversations, how to behave?
Yeah,
yes.
like
My kids, when they were young, there were no cell phones. It's like, what do I do? And I'm like, figure it out. Like,
Exactly.
build something with your forks and knives. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, figure it out.
100%.
Yeah, use your imagination.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Be bored.
Yeah.
Let our kids be
Yes.
bored.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
know, let the young people be bored. They'll figure it out. I was in the street until the lights came
Yeah, same
on.
here.
Like, we
Yeah.
could
I
not-
love my.
Our
I can
parents
relive.
wouldn't let us
Can you
in.
relive your youth? Exactly.
Yes,
Even
my
though
kids-
there's some issues.
Yeah.
I know.
Overall,
There's some
it
dangers.
was fun.
My kids always say, like, I wish we grew up in the 90s. And I'm like, yeah, you know, it's pros and cons, right? So
You know, it was always. Now this is just dragging on. I'm sorry. Now you're having to go to the rant.
I know, yeah.
But you know, we would always play basketball as kids, and you would never have to like when we do things like you text someone, "Hey, are you there yet? Are you here?"
I know.
Back in the day,
It's like,
you just go and people would somehow remember to show up.
somehow
People
you
just
just
say, yeah,
figure it out.
Yeah.
I know. It's a
Yeah.
very different world. It's a very different. I feel bad
It's tough.
sometimes
It's
for
tough
the
on these
younger
kids, man.
people.
Yeah.
How do we find you? Some of your
Yes,
contact
socially.
information.
Yeah, so Jothi Creative Wellness on all socials,
Yeah.
and Jothi, Jothi.ca is my website. And yeah, I'm open to building. So if you want to build, let's build.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
very much.
So much.
Thank you so much. That's fun.
Amazing.
Thank you guys.
Easy.